Hope we're all doing extremely well as I fix this light on Sunday, the 5th of October. So, this light, honestly, see if we could what we can do about this light today. It's already absolutely doing my head in already. So, anyway, I hope we're all doing extremely well. This Sunday, as I say, this Sunday, the 5th of October. Can't believe it's October already. Just can't believe how really quickly this month is flying by already. That's better, I think. United. Scott says, "What's good, buddy? What's good, Scott?" I hope the flight was good. I hope you're enjoying yourself. So keep it PC, my friend. But yeah, I hope you're doing well, whatever you are up to. Scott, legend of the chat, of course, and one of the amazing mods that have been from the channel from the very early start. So if you are new to the show, how we work on here is that my word isn't the be all and the end all. On here, this show is a Sunday night show. This is more of a chilled show. I didn't do one this afternoon really because I had some family time. So you know, family does come first, and as it should do. Andrew Edwards, Scott, I'm glad you're here. After watching Liverpool and United on Saturday, what platform do I need to buy these FIFA points for? Dino Hughes, legend of the chat as well. Good afternoon, JB. Hope we're all doing extremely well. So, Sunday, guys, if you are new to the channel, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this is the best platform, best community on this platform. I think what we do extremely well here is we give everybody their own opinions. I legitimately do try to read all of your chats out, as many as I possibly can. There are super chats and all that stuff on here. As I've said before, I'm probably the worst person to upsell the channel. This channel for me is all about our opinions. You know, I will not always agree with you. You don't always agree with me, but it's not my way or the highway. It is an absolute collaborative community that we've tried to build here. So feel free tonight to get in with your chats. Let me know what you're doing, what you're up to. All I ask is for those of you who love a bit of banter, absolutely no problem with the banter here, as the chat will testify to that. I could not afford to watch this and so look, Andrew cracks me up. As I say, guys, absolutely no obligation. We absolutely on here. The number one goal on here is to keep this channel as free to air as we possibly can. Dino says, "I'm not saying we're going to win, but never been a better time to play Liverpool." I agree, and we can get into that as well. So feel free to get in your comments about this weekend. So this is I've got a topic for tonight. Amorin in and Mainoo out, and that's more so a play on the sort of words. Oh god, this thing. That's more so on a play on sort of, you know, the fact that Amorin is probably gonna be in, and Mainoo looks like he's probably gonna be out. We can talk about that, whether you agree with that or not. Danny B, big up, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well, mate. You could play one at the back with an iron goal and still probably wouldn't be able to score. Yeah, exactly that. So get into the chat. As I say, imagine back-to-back Prem wins. Tell you what, we can dream a dream, can't we? We can absolutely dream a dream on here. I think that. I mean, talk about the game. Let me know. Look, be ahead of the Liverpool game, because that's what's going to be on the subject now of everyone's lips. Is can we go to Anfield with this Liverpool side being in the state that it is? I'm sunburnt already. Been here for 12 hours. I'm loving the brag. I'm loving the brag already, Scott. Loving the sunburn brag already, mate. You know, it's actually not been too bad here today. Actually, a little bit of overcast. Let me know how the flight was. Harif says, "I reckon United will be safe this season." To be fair, Harif, look, I absolutely have no qualms at all about us being safe. 27 degrees it was today. Fucking hell, Scott. Honestly, you come on here with your. I'd rather be bantered and called shit than know that you're. You know, you've got 27 degrees out there, mate. No, Fantastic, mate. The dream of United has changed. Leagues, Champions League, and the troubles. Now, mate, let's go back to back wins. It's true. It's true. It was a good flight. Good. I'm glad. It was a good flight. Look, Harif, I reckon United will be safe this season. To be fair, and do you know what? That opinion, in some respects, is probably a one of, without maybe meaning it in this context, it's probably one of the best comments, right? Which probably sums up better than I can, like how we are, right? So you're saying, I reckon that we'll be safe this season. The fact that you're saying that, not the fact that you reckon that we'll win a league, or the fact that you reckon that we can qualify. The fact that I reckon that we'll be safe this season in terms of we're not going to go down, and that for me just goes to show how far we've fallen. But I think you're right. So let's get down to the business. What's the story with Mainoo, Andy? Okay, so I know you don't like my waffle. So let's go through this. So Mainoo. So let's go through this. So Mainoo is, I think, it's been well known now for quite some time, and there's so much out there. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is, look, Mainoo is doing everything that he can to get into this team. Now there's so much circulating out there that in the next window Mainoo wants to go. There's a World Cup. Obviously Mainoo was part of the last championship, England, the tournament, and now there's a World Cup coming up as well. So it is, and this is going to be the main story. Do you reckon Amorin will last to the new year? Harif, look, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I'd like to park that, but again, I will answer the question because the headline is Amorin in, Mainoo out. Now the Amorin in thing in this context is not really about him, right? Do I think he'll last? I do think he'll last. Look, it's anyone's bet, really. I mean, I thought he'd be gone. But again, just when I think these players are not playing for him, and just when I think that Amorin is playing for or managing for himself, Sunderland, and look, by no means was it a great win, but these players show that actually they do play for him. So, and look, I can only go by the things that I hear from week to week, right? Or the things that I read and the things that are said. And the consensus for me right now seems to be Ineos do not want to seem to be making a mistake. I don't think Sir Jim wants another knee. So I think Sir Jim is going to give it as long as he possibly can. Whether people are still Amorin out or not, I absolutely have to respect that. But for me, look, I think he's right. I think changing the manager now will be a lot worse than keeping him. So I think this needs to be reviewed. Can't be reviewed on a week by week. I would like to give him until Christmas, at least, and then we see. So I think mainly we'll leave on loan. It's a shame. I think he just needs some more minutes, and that's what we'll get into as well. When I left the stream last night, I didn't even sleep. I've been up for hours and had a few bevies. Yes, Scott, that is what you need to have. Is you need a bevy or two. Is Belieber even better than Mainoo? Scott has been a member for a month. Big up JP and the chat. Absolute legend. Of course he is. Scott obviously is an absolute legend. A month, Scott. You've been a member for a month, my friend. Legendary. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Scotty. Absolute legend of the channel and this chat. So let's get into. So is Belieber even better? Can you see a style of play in the United team, or is he winging it? Look, there is and again we can kind of move around with this as well, right? So I will come back to that, but I will come on to Harif as well. So basically, there was an interview with the manager for Sunderland after that basically said that the reason why United was so good was because they started playing the second balls. So we were so good in the first half. I thought we were better in the first half because we absolutely tried to win the first ball, second ball. So we did play differently. The question here is, are we seeing a style of play? And when we're talking about that, for me, and you give me your opinions on this, is, are we seeing a style of play that's acceptable to the fans? No. Are we seeing a style of play that Amorin ball? No. I think the question right now should be, what do we want? Do we want to see a style of play without Amorin's players, or do we want to see a winning team? At the moment, I don't think we're going to see both. So I don't see any style of play really. I see a team who are struggling for consistency, and it's very hard. Look, it's very, very difficult to have a style of play when you're inconsistent. I think what Amorin wants us to do, like we did, I think our style of play is to smother teams as much as we possibly can. When we play bigger teams, is to counter-attack. It's Billy Basic football. It's not a style of play. This is not Amorin's ball. So I think what we need to be careful of, Harith, and I think that's a really, really important thing to ask is, with players like a Mainoo, is that why we're not seeing more of a style of play? Because we've got Casemiro in there, who's basically like Deadwood. So I don't think we are seeing the style of play, and I think that's a purposeful thing. Let me know. I think our style of play right now is dependent on the game, dependent on the day. Are you asking me if Amorin is changing a style? I think he's adapting slightly. I definitely think he adapted, but the adaptation is not going to be this big, massive, Amorin ball's going to suddenly hit, or he's going to change to a back two, like a back four. That's not going to happen. We're only going to really see a style of play, I believe, when Amorin gets his new players, or we get in a new coach who gets his own players. But this really does depend on the personnel and the manager to fit. Mathakai says, bring back Sir Alex Ferguson. Is he still alive? I think that's a little bit disrespectful. Look, he's not coming back, is he? Us a Blue Nose. JB, happy Sunday. Hope it's been a blessed one. What's up with Mainoo? A lot of people talking about him leaving. I can't see it personally. I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Thank you, and happy Sunday to you. Remember me saying I hosted games for? Yes. I met Kobbie's mum, really nice lady. It seems they're all United through and through. Exactly, and I wanted to come back on that, so thank you for that. You are a legend, and the fact that you speak to these people are amazing stuff. I'm going to come home in the same colour. I don't think you'll come home covered in bruises. That's all I'm saying. Shivram, I'm kidding, by the way. Shivram said, I watched the replay again. And again, and found Cunha is one major problem. Dribbling and never passes, so we score less. He needs to give our assist along with the scoring goals. We can talk about that. We will come on to that as well. I think that's a good point. I think Bruno's the problem. I think, look, Cunha likes the ball to feet and likes to run. Bruno doesn't like to give the ball to feet. I think right now, Bruno and Cunha don't work together. And Cunha, I think, when Mason Mount is fit, Mason Mount gets into the squad. So Cunha, I don't think it is a problem. I don't see how he gets into this team when I think Mason Mount is a favourite. We want Sir Alex Ferguson. He still breathes. He needs to bring us back to glory. Math, look. Ferguson is an old man. He's done and dusted. He is. Look. I do wish sometimes that, and I do understand why we do it as fans, why we hark back to the glory days. Now, sometimes I will go back to those days because I want to take lessons, and I do believe that you can take lessons from the past and bring them to the future. But the Fergie days are done. Those glory days are done and dusted. They are so special because they're historic and they're done. The problem that's holding us back, and it's not a dig at you, is we can't keep referring back. That was a bygone age. It's finished. It's done and dusted. Everyone else has moved on, and we need to as well. Dino Hughes, I think Belieber and Mainoo are not different, and winning games and getting points at the moment is more important than the style of play. I said a couple of days ago, again, we just need to win games. Bed for me in a few minutes. Look, Scott, go to bed, get a good night's sleep. Wayne, legend of the chat as well. Slot is not making the right decisions at the moment. We have struggled one way to get results in our last 3 games. So Wayne, I think you've struggled, mate, all season. You can correct me here. I've watched you a couple of times. I think you've struggled all season. I don't think you've looked at your best the whole season. Now, look, right, all this vert stuff and all this panic stuff, look, we're 9 games into the season. Like Liverpool, even if they don't win the league this season, you're going to come again next season, right? You've got the players, you've got the, look, whether or not Slot is the guy, in my opinion, I think, looking at from my position, I think it is ridiculous. The fact, look, Slot has won a league. I think it's ridiculous that people are calling out all your players. Look, you've bought basically like half a team. It's gonna take time, and I get it. It's really, really frustrating. But all this, look, I get it. It's a difficult time, but you're gonna have a break for a week, and you're playing us. So I'm sure you'll get back to winning ways soon. So I'm not worried at all. It must be frustrating as a fan right now, but I mean, you're still there or thereabouts, aren't you? So So Sid Brown, would you take Belieber for 55? For me, he's not 100. I'll take 2 midfielders instead of Belieber. Look, depending on who plays, who would I take? Look, Belieber for me is a worry. I will bring it. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to talk about the Mainoo thing, and then we'll talk about the Belieber thing as well, because I do have that on the list. So Mainoo for me, look, is Amorin right on the Mainoo problem? So the Mainoo problem for me is, why isn't he playing? Now, for all intents and purposes, from the things that I'm hearing, things that I've read, Mainoo is trying hard. Mainoo's trying everything that he can. He's impressing his teammates. He's doing all sorts of stuff. Now, the teammate stuff, look, I'm not bothered about that, because look, if you look at the teammates that he has, look, I don't necessarily believe in the things that they say. I couldn't really care less. But for me, it does appear that Mainoo is working extremely hard. The bit that puzzles me, and you guys tell me, is that why does Amorim prefer to play Casemiro, who I thought was dreadful in the previous game, can't run for shit. I think he's awful. Trying to sell him for the last 2 seasons, but yet Amorim will play him all of the time. Answer that for me. And then when we are talking about Amorim in and Amorim out, these are the decisions that will come back to haunt him. Mainoo, as a fan base, what's Mainoo going to do? I think Mainoo will go. And as it's been said already, Mainoo is a Manchester lad through and through. This is his club, right? He doesn't want to go, but the caveat to that is that and I think this is true, the agent of him is Dean Henderson's, or was Dean Henderson's as well, and we all know what happened there. So do I think that Mainoo wants to leave? No. Do I think his agent is having some sort of impact on this? Yes, I do. Do I believe that Mainoo wants 200k a week? I think there's something in it. Whether or not it's 200k, I don't know. But it seems to me like this is the perfect storm for Mainoo to leave. Now, if that happens, it is going to be... Look, if it's on loan, it's not going to be great, but I can suffer that to give him some game time. But if he goes on a permanent deal to strengthen a rival, that's when I'm concerned. So I do think that at the moment, the situation is this. is that Amorin is in, as he's spoken about, and if you've read all the stuff today, and I won't go over it again because I'm sure that you guys have read and watched like different things out there. But as it stands, I do believe it's Amorin in. I think those of you who are Amorin out, get prepared, because I don't think he's going anywhere in the short term. And I think Mainoo goes before him. So I think where we are right now, the situation as of tonight, as I see it, and you feel free to let me know your comments on this, I think it would be ridiculous. I think there's more chance of Mainoo right now leaving this club before Amorin does. Now, the caveat to that will be, look, if Amorin goes on and loses the next 4 games, he's done, right? But if Amorin goes, draws, loses, wins, draws, wins, look, he's not going anywhere, and nor should he, in my opinion. But what does that do for Mainoo? So I think we're in a position now, and get in your comments, let me know what you think. Do you think that we should, if Mainoo does leave, how much do you think that we should get for him? Do you think that he should stay? I believe that he should stay. I think the biggest mistake that we made this season was letting Bruno stay, and we'll come on to the Belieber stuff as well. Not playing Mainoo, not bringing in Belieber or a Wharton, and letting Fernandes stay. So let me know your opinions on that. Let me know if you think Mainoo deserves your shot. Bearing in mind the Grimsby game as well. He had a perfect opportunity for that as well. But I just don't see when Mainoo gets the minutes, particularly now where he's playing a Casemiro who is just. I almost think that for me is an Amorin red flag for me. Is those decisions for me, they absolutely baffle me. But let me know your opinions on it. Harry said, what position have United got to finish for Amorin to keep his job safe if he's still there at the end of the season? Mate, look, if Amorin finishes 15th, I'm on board. Because, look, I will give Amorin another season, okay? And what I mean by that is if Amorin doesn't have his players, and it is as simple as that for me, and people may disagree with me on this one. It's these players and these managers don't gel, and it is quite simply these players for me. Look, Amorin doesn't get away with it; it's got free. But if Amorin finishes 15th and he's going to get some more players, I'd give him till this time next season. And then if this time next season it is completely the same, or look, if we get to the end of the season, he's 15th, and Ineos have no intentions of buying him a team, get rid of him, because there's no point continuing. Okay? If Ineos get to the next window and they've got no intention of buying him players, get rid of him, because there's no point. If I don't understand, Amorin needs different sorts of players, right? If these arseholes are not going to buy him his players, and they expect the coach to work with these players, let's stop pretending. Get rid of him and get in a shit coach, because if that's what you want, it's not about the position for me. It's about the future. What is it we're going to do as a club? And what is it we're going to do with a coach? So if we are going to support him, do that. If not, get rid of him, because there's no point. What did he change from the Brentford tee yesterday? I didn't see any changes. Just Brentford were defensively better than Sunderland. I think what we saw yesterday was very little change. Lamens obviously was a good change. I think what we saw was a slight difference in terms of the second balls. But you're right. Sunderland were not good. I think we deceptively worked quite hard. But in terms of how we play, in terms of the same things, the gap was still the same. Luke Shaw was still the same. Delo still the same. Bruno in 8 was still the same. What changed? Was there a slight tweak to the system? Yes. Was it hard to tell? Yes. Was there a massive amount of change? No. So, we've got to take this game by game. Look, is this a temporary stay for the coach? Look, Amorin Alters, what's going to frustrate you the most is, as much as I don't think we're going to get back-to-back wins, I don't think you're going to get back-to-back getting beat as well. I think what you'll see is, a a loss. I think you'll see a win. I think you'll see a draw. I think you'll see a loss. I think you'll see a draw, loss, draw. So I think what you're going to see is the inconsistency. And I think that Amorin inners and Amorin, those of you who are Amorin out and people like me who are trying to push this team, everybody's going to get frustrated. And I can see it getting very, very toxic again because everybody's getting frustrated because we're not winning games. We're not really doing what I want us to do, and Amorin doing something good. We're also not going to get game after game after game where we get beat. So I just see it being a very, 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 very toxic season again. But Andrew, you're right. I agree with Shivam. Bruno and Cunha are very similar in that they both want to be the guy. I agree. Titus says Bruno is passing the torch to Cunha. Mate, Bruno isn't passing the torch to anybody. I respect the opinion, and I will read the opinion out. Bruno doesn't pass to Cunha because where I slightly disagree. I think Bruno and Cunha are different sorts of players, are similar players. But Bruno, instead of doing the simple pass, wants to be the man. Cunha does as well, but I think Cunha's better at receiving the ball, running, and bringing people into play. Whereas Bruno doesn't want to do that. Bruno wants to take a shot. Bruno wants to stick a 50-yard ball out. They're similar players, but they're very, very different in the application of what it is that they're trying to be. Wayne says Ferguson has done his job at United, and he did an exceptional job. Look, Wayne, he did, mate. Look, Ferguson can sleep well. Fergie has more than earned, just like Paisley, Shankly, all these guys earned their rest, earned their retirement. They don't need to come back. They don't need to sort of explain anything at all. They're done and dusted. I just wish people would stop trying to bring him back. He's done and dusted. Fergie would kill his legacy if he came back to this mess. Imagine how shit it would be to have fans calling in Fergie to be sat. Look, Andrew, but not to mention, mate, he's 80 odd years old. The guy's had a stroke. The guy fell down the stairs. I mean, can you imagine Fergie trying to jeer up this team? It would literally just be like a figurehead. Like, I don't understand what people think that Fergie would do to this team. He can't participate. Like he's an old man. He's retired. He's done and dusted. He's still a very active, very, very intelligent guy. The guy's had a stroke. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Prefer Klopp. Interesting. Philip Rome says, good evening, sir. Good evening, Philip. Liverpool just having a bit of a rough time, but they have all the means to come back. A great coach, great team, and great aboard. I think there's a question mark on coach for me, but look, the guys come in and won a league in his very, very, very first season. Look, City had an auspicious start. They come back into it, right? Arsenal haven't been playing great, but they're back. I'm not worried at all. Liverpool can have a bit of a dip. Rather have a dip now. We're only what are we? 9 games into the season? No, we're 7 games into a season. It's nothing, is it? I mean, it is. I get the frustration, but yeah, so glad Liverpool have lost their last 3 games. Not sorry. Daz said, I bet Amorin is going to resort back to being at Anfield. Daz, I hope not, mate. I don't want you to be right. You might be right. I really hope he doesn't. I'm hoping that Lemens. Split Game says, I just made some boiled eggs at 12 a.m. I love a boiled egg. You cannot beat a humble boiled egg. Absolutely amazing. If I was Mainoo, I'd be gone. The manager has said publicly he is competing with Bruno, who never gets injured and gets picked in week out, and regardless of the performance or results. Andrew, look, Andrew, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. I don't want him to go. I think it will be an absolute. This is what I mean. Why I'm so annoyed with Ineos and the Glazers, and why I'm not fully behind the manager, is because these decisions to let these type of young players go. In 2 years, Mainoo's going to be phenomenal. To let these sorts of players go is criminal. It's not something that we would ever have done in the past. I'd rather loan him out and bring him back into the fold. But Mainoo, letting Mainoo go, a kid of that age with so much potential, Andrew, I'm with you. Look, it's good to see Mainoo's got ambition. The fact that Mainoo wants to go makes me want to keep him even more because he's got that ambition. He's seen what Anthony's done, even though I still think he's shit. Rashford, even though I don't blame Rashford and I don't blame the club, that sort of had to happen. He's seen McTominay, why wouldn't he want to go to another club? I mean, Scotty Mac is up for the he was up for the Ballon d'Or. Like who would have thought that? So I'm not surprised one bit that he's seen these players look and go, you look at what they've become. And if I was him, Andrew, I'd do the same thing. I would. Mainoo deserves to stay. Look. I think when we're talking about Mainoo, what does he deserve? Right? Does Mainoo deserve to stay? Yes. But do we deserve Mainoo to stay? And I'm not saying that Mainoo, and what I'm suggesting there with that is, do we deserve right now with our owners, with what we've become, do we deserve to have these players? Are we lucky to have some of these players? Now, I'm not in defence of these players at all. You know how I feel. But when we've got a player like that who needs to be nurtured, who is a talented player, do we deserve players like that? Now, when we have a player like that and we're playing fucking Luke Shaw, Maguire, we're playing, fucking Fernandez who doesn't even want to be here. When we're playing those players and we've got a young guy who's been absolutely great, not last season, but the potential, and we'd rather play Casemiro, a shit old Casemiro who can't run, and we've got a player who's clambering to play, the fan base wants him to play, and we're keeping these players, or we're playing them, do we deserve Mainoo? And that is just I think is mad. Agree. It pains me to hear that as well. According to Fabrizio, Man U are not in contact with any coach to replace Amorin, nor the start of a short-term. Agree with you, Philip. I think right now, I've said, I think the frustrating thing for everybody is going to be, and I'm not surprised that this team is going to win, lose, win, draw, lose, win, lose, win. We're going to be so inconsistent that Amorin, and look, I'm not against it. I think we'll finish about 10th. And then we get to next season and we see where we are there. But I think we need to strap our seats. I think we need to strap down because it's going to be an interesting season. Johnny Hill says, I can't bring myself to back Amorin over Mainoo. Mainoo is easily our best midfielder and Amorin doesn't use him due to Amorin having a Portuguese bias. So yeah, I back Mainoo, not Amorin. Yeah, look, these opinions are interesting. These opinions are, get your opinions in on it. What do you think? Amorin, I can't judge him. I cannot. It baffles me. As much as I want him to stay, it baffles me. Why are you playing Casemiro as a 6 when the guy can't fucking run? If I could just speak to Amorin and say, look, what are you doing? Why is Mainoo not playing? Casemiro cannot fucking run. He looks like he's running in dog shit. The guy can't run. You've got Mainoo sat there. Okay, Mainoo maybe is not the most defensive. Is he going to be worse than Casemiro? No. My dog is better than Casemiro. Your nan is better than Casemiro. What is it about Mainoo that you don't like? I just don't get it. Well. You said if you picked the same busted team in the same formation, you'd be Amorin. You won. Fair enough. But against the poor Sunderland, I'm shocked you flip flop there. No, Andrew. I'm not. Look, I'm not. Right. What I'm saying to you is, and I will answer that. I'm not a flip flop, but I will answer that question. Right. What I said is if I see the same shit formation the same shit players, right? And Amorin is doing this for his own agenda. Right? I don't mind playing the same players. If Amorin is doing it for his own agenda and doing it because he's been stubborn, then that's when I'm Amorin out, right? And I did say that if I see the same shit playing in the same way and the same players, I did see something different. Like I am not completely Amorin in, right? I'm not Amorin out. As I've said before and after the game, I'm not Amorin in or out anymore. I am manager in. Like I am. If Amorin walks, then he walks, right? I'm neither Amorin in nor Amorin out. I want a coach. Okay, let's take Amorin out of it, right? I am manager in on the basis that I do not want a manager to be sacked. Do I think it's the players? Yes, I do. Do I think it is Amorin now? Yes, I do, because Amorin picks this team, and for I will defend him to a certain point, but I cannot defend the decisions that he makes. I will give him this season, not because I'm necessarily Amorin in or out. I want a manager to succeed at this club. I'm not on board. Like, if we get spanked in the next game, I'm going to be consistent on this. If Amorin goes to the next match and goes, okay, if Amorin goes Binder in goal, Luke Shaw, Maguire, Bruno, Casemiro, and we go to Anfield with Bruno and Casemiro and we get spanked, look, Amorin at that point can go. Will I support it? I'm not going to go against it. Like I'm not. Look, my mind hasn't changed on this. I want Amorin to succeed, right? But I can't defend him. If Amorin gets sacked, it's because of what he's doing. Like Casemiro, I'm not happy. I look right now where I am. I'm leaning more towards Amorin leaving because I don't want him to go. I want him to succeed. But this persistence with Bruno as 8, Casemiro as 6, and I've said this many times, he's going to die on the Fernandes Hill. The fact he's playing Luke Shaw. If Amorin continues to do that in his next 3 to 4 games, and we get spanked, he's gone. I don't need right now to be Amorin in or out. I'm leaning towards that. Look, we need to make a change. And if Amorin is not prepared to do something different, because we're going to go to Anfield, and are we going to go to Anfield with a pivot of Bruno and Casemiro? And Amorin is then going to, if he does that, then he's in shtick. So look, I get it. I find it really difficult. Like these are my views, and I'm consistent in these views. Right, this is where I will be consistent. It's not the manager right now. It's not the manager's formation. It's not the style of play. It's not the tactics. Okay, these players do not fit the system. Right? Are these players good enough? No. Is it all of the players' fault? No. These players do not fit the manager. Right? I completely blame the Glazers, Ineos, for bringing in a coach into a team we've never played a back 4 before. A back 3. Okay? They brought in a coach, giving him the wrong sort of players. They've not fully backed him, in my opinion, and we've now got this mess. That is where I'm at now. The fact that we've got Amorin in and out is to me inconsequential. It's about this club. Was Amorin wrong to come into the side? Probably was. Was Amorin the wrong choice for this club? Possibly. And if Ineos have no intention of backing this coach with his players, because Amorin is going to need his players, sack him. Because there is no point in pretending a farce if you're not going to get this coach this side. Because all we're going to have is this consistently for the next year. I would much rather get a coach in with these shit players, right, and just play a system. Because unless we get players, no manager in the world is going to come into this squad. So I'm consistent on that. The difficulty for me is that line between what is Amorin truly doing? Is Amorin truly doing the best for this club? Was he doing the best for himself? And I find it really, really difficult to judge the manager on the basis just when I think he's going to change something, it looks like he's doing it for himself. And that's where I'm at. So I am not Amorin in or out. I am, if we need to make a change, I don't care who it is. If it's a player who regards himself more than the club, he can go. If Amorin is putting his own agenda before the club, he can fuck off as well. So I am not about in and out. I'm about what is best for this club. And if Amorin continues this pivot, Liverpool, we're going to get spanked, and then he can go. Like I can't defend that. I can't. Some of the players still miss Yossa very badly. It's hard to pick up things, and it's a funny feeling we are going to show. Look, Wayne, and I think people forget that. I think people forget. Look, it's so easy for fans to go, look, we just expect you to play on and continue. What happened was awful. So I'm not surprised. To be honest, I don't want Ineos to buy Amorin his team. Amorin wanted to replace Mainoo with Gallagher. That already shows me Amorin has a bad taste in players. Johnny, interesting opinion, mate. That is the chance you take. I know that that is a difficult one for me, because I want to give the manager time. I want to give him the time, but the football inside overruled him and overruled Mainoo on this one. We don't know. We need to allow Amorin to make his mistakes. We don't know. We're assuming that Mainoo is going to be this most amazing player. I think he will be. But it is an interesting opinion that he wanted to get rid of Mainoo on loan and bring him in. So, agree with you, JB. Mainoo will leave before Amorin. Shown the door. I disagree with another season if we finish 15th. At least top 8 shows improvement, but still, I would have to consider my options. I would go for Eddie Howe. Look, Wayne, I've said this many times. I'd go for Howe as well. I think Howe is a great coach. If we don't sign a top CM in January, they'll have a purposely thrown away the season. I agree with you. Mount being a first choice 10 is a clear sign we don't need 3 new attackers. Look, we didn't. But the problem is that we didn't know that Mason Mount was going to be fit, right? So if Mason Mount was fit, I agree with you completely. I think we signed them because look at Mason Mount, he hasn't played for 2 years. So I get it, I do, but I agree with you. I can already see a situation where Cunha wants to leave. I can already see it. Ferguson had the right players, that's why they needed everything exactly. So do you think Southgate would do a better job, Harif? No, 100% not. 100% not. Fernandes can leave, take 100 mil. I agree with you. It's kind of funny that Napoli fans value McTominay above De Bruyne. Interesting. We'll go into the Belieber stuff as well. Aidan Morris is better than Hayden Hackney. For Man United, finishing probably 10th is not good enough for a big club. Wayne, mate, it's not. I demand we finish first every single season. We're in the Champions League and we're in all of the cups, right? Not because I'm stupid, not because I'm an arrogant fan. It's how you set standards, right? And I damn well know Liverpool, even through those years where Liverpool didn't do particularly well, I guarantee you demanded Liverpool would be back every season. Liverpool would be finishing first because that's the standards that you set. There's nothing wrong in having standards, and we don't have those standards anymore. We just don't have those standards. Tom, legend of the chat. Good evening to my good buddy Tom. Legend Ollie, you're Satan. You're not my friend. Absolutely not. Satan in or Satan out? Well, Satan has to be out, doesn't he? Klopp was one of the best. That's how good he was. Yeah, I mean, look, Klopp is a legend, isn't he? If he wants to play Bruno, at least play him as a 10. Agree with you. Agree completely. Can he rest Shaw permanently? I think somebody said it. I can't remember who said it. They should take Shaw out of the back and put him out of his misery. Lucky, why do you keep spamming the same content? Not worried anymore. Liverpool in poor form. We can win if we show up in big games, except for the UEFA final, of course. Look, I'll give you my opinion on that as well. Nathan, you might get a draw at Anfield because we're not up to form at the moment. Nice one for beating the Mackhams and keeping them quiet on the weekend. Gosh, another rage baiter. Yeah, Gallagher will be decent, but not for silly money. What I wanted to say on that is, look, Liverpool are not playing well, right? But I know what's going to happen. Right? Liverpool are not playing well, right? They're at Anfield. Our players will shit themselves. Bruno Fernandes will disappear. Amorin will play something stupid like Maguire at the back. He'll play Maguire at the last man. He'll put Binder in goal. He'll put Luke Shaw there as well. He'll put Dorgu there. He'll put maybe a Mazraoui, hopefully, if he's back. Look, I don't know what Amorin's going to do. I don't know what these players are going to do. I think that we can go there and get spanked. I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter how Liverpool are at the moment. I think Liverpool will get themselves up for this game. I think what matters to us more than anything else, and this will make us draw or lose. I don't think that we can win. I think that what separates us out from either a loss or a draw is what team turns up, and it's the consistency that kills me. So whilst I would love to say, look, Liverpool are in awful form right now, they're not great. Liverpool will turn up against us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about form. It doesn't matter about who's going to win. It just doesn't matter. There's certain games in the Premier League you shouldn't need. It's not about form. Everton against Liverpool against us. It doesn't matter. Liverpool will be up for that game. It's whether or not we can match that. Wayne, you have Isaac, the signing of the summer. Andrew says no issue with Mainoo leaving if he doesn't fit in Amorin's squad or system. Otherwise, he becomes another Bruno shoved into the team, square pegs in round holes. Vert says crap, says James. Go to bed, says Stephen. I will in a bit, my friend. United, says James. Shesko looks solid. I do like him. Don't worry, Shaw will get injured soon due to an injury. I hope so. United will turn up. Look, James, mate, I hope I'm right. But you can't trust these players, mate. You can't trust these players. You cannot trust these players. And before the City game, I thought that we could go to... Look, it's exactly the same, right? City, before we played them, right, they weren't in the best of forms. when City played us, City weren't particularly great, and people will forget that, right? Our memories are very, very short, right? When we played City, City were in the same position as Liverpool are now, not playing good. City were there for the taking. City were shit. City were counter-attack. That is what they did, right? We turned up, we didn't turn up. What makes you think that Liverpool, probably not as bad, I'd argue got better players? What is different about this game? Why are United suddenly going to turn around and win this game, even though Sunderland game we weren't really good? We won, we were at home. All I'm asking, James, is what tells you that we can go to Anfield and get a win? I don't see it. It's Manchester City all over again. I don't trust these players. I don't trust Amorin to put in the right team. I don't trust these players to turn up. I don't trust the captain. I need to know, because this is exactly the same as going to City. What is different? I'd argue that we were. I'd argue that we were worse. So what is it about this next game that believes you to think that we can go there and win? We come in 2-1 against Liverpool. Excuse me, Ahmad and Shesko score the winner. Ahmad made Robertson and Van Dijk do handstands. The last time, look, I just don't have faith. Look, I'm glad you guys do, but I don't, because I've been let down time and time again, and I'm not going to trust these players because I don't. If you saw the last big chance Sunderland had, De Ligt ran back to centre back because he forgot he'd been moved to right centre back of the defence. It's true. I do not look, and this is what I'm saying about Amorin and the choices and the substitutes. I don't trust that either. Liverpool United games are the most exciting in the Premier League. I agree with you. Typical United fan, sounds like he's from London. James. Fucking hell. So again, James, you're another fucking idiot who thinks that all fans should come from the same town where the football's team from. So what that would basically mean is that then what you want to do is that all Liverpool fans should just come from there. It'd be a very shitty, boring world, wouldn't it? And this is why football is a global brand. This is why Liverpool can earn £5 billion. This is why Real Madrid earns £6 billion. This is why United earns £6 billion. Why Barcelona earn? Because they're a global fan base. So what does a typical United fan, how should they sound? How should a Madrid fan sound? Because guess what? The majority of their fans are in another fucking country. James, you're a bit of a fucking moron. King Leon says, hello, sir. What do you think about the Premier League this year? I have, Wayne. I do still. I've had this cold for bloody ages, Wayne. It is. I've been ill since COVID. I had about a month ago. It's absolutely ridiculous. What do I think about the Premier League this year? I think it's up for grabs. I do. I think it's between Arsenal, Liverpool, City. Chelsea might have a sneaky thing in there as well. Look, I don't think it's going to be a one-horse race this year. I think it's going to go down to the wire, and I think there'll be 3 teams in it. This year, I'm sure Napoli are waiting to take Mainoo. They are, my friend. Bluey Games United have a 19% chance on Google. Someone says Mainoo has been Mainoo has been dreadful. He's not a CM. He's a 10, and he's not going to get into the side in that position. Needs to move on. Amorin will come good. We aren't top of the shots and XG for no reason. Interesting take, someone. I like that. It's a different take, and I do like different takes. I do like different opinions, and that is a different opinion. I think Mainoo can be whatever he wants to be. Is he a 6? No. Is he an 8? I think you could argue with Mainoo is he a 8 or a 10? I think he can be either. I think you're right. I think he had attributes to be a number 10. There's no chance he gets in at 10. He's never getting at 6. He's never getting in at 8. And look, I can't argue with that. I mean, look, XG and all that stuff, I don't necessarily buy into it all. But as a stat, look, was Mainoo awful? Has Mainoo been awful? Yes, he has. Mainoo is a young player, right? So Mainoo is a young player who is going to be very up and down, because in my opinion with younger players, right, they basically still grow, and Mainoo is still, whether or not you think this, Mainoo has still got time to grow. So Mainoo will finish when he's about 21. Was he 20 now? So he's still got another year in him. So whilst I do agree what Mainoo right now hasn't been great, Grimsby game was his. Grimsby was Mainoo's game to prove to the world how good he is. I think he failed it. Mainoo hasn't looked to cut up trees, but where I don't disagree, Mainoo is young. Mainoo can be whatever he wants to do. You know, I think we should look. If we're going to get rid of Mainoo, let's do it online, right? Because I don't want to see a lad of this potential go to waste. If he goes to a rival, this is going to be one of these players that we are going to be kicking ourselves with. So whilst I think it's a really good observation, I'm sort of somewhere in between, and I think Mainoo could be an 8 or a 10. I think you're right. I think he's got more attributes of a 10, but right now he's not going to get into this side. And where he's not going to get into this side, do we need to sell him? I think so. Sort your beard out far too high, Kyle. Look, one thing I'll say on here, right, is be respectful, right? The moment you start making it personal about me or my beard, look, I don't care necessarily, but mate, you could only dream of having this beard, right? I've had compliments on this beard, mate. Look at that. I guarantee you'll never have a beard as thick and as coarse as this. It might be white. It might be white as shit nowadays, but this beard, mate, you could only dream of having a beard as amazing as this, mate. I'm joking. Do you support a second or local team? I mean, I support Wales. Other than that, mate, no, I don't. Look, I don't have time to really split allegiances and teams. I'm not really sort of that sort. I support Wales. That's pretty much as far as I go, my friend. You support who you want to support. Don't matter. His second team is City. James, I love it. James. What I love about this channel as well is that when you get people who come on here and they just expose themselves, this is why I love giving you guys a platform, right? You give people a voice to speak, and sometimes they waste it. And what's true enough, what is true, right? Opinions are like an arsehole. Everyone's got one, right? So James, have your opinion, mate. Have a laugh. All you're doing is just exposing yourself. Everton FC, look, mate. Everton fans, doesn't matter. Welcome here, my friend. Summer B says Neville was spot on. Yeah, stupid white folks with no brains. Look. We're not doing that, mate. We're not doing that. Apparently, United are looking at Ter Stegen. Interesting for sure. Mainly looked class in the first season, but he's fallen off. I agree with you. He can only work at 10 or at the top of a midfield 3. Under Amorin, that's not going to happen. So yes, a loan would be good. A great comment. Support your local is one of the most dumbest statements. My local have an average attendance of 60, so I now have to move to Edinburgh to support Rangers now. Exactly that. Exactly. Look, this is why this platform is fantastic. Look, this is what I give you guys your views, right? Because I think it's really important for us to discuss as a community. And I love people who come and infiltrate the chat with their really important comments. You just expose yourself. Just expose. I don't need to expose you. This chat will expose you for you. But feel free. Feel free. I think Shesko and Lamens are really warming up for United in the Prem. Thank you, Marvel Forever. Carl Brad says, it's nice beard, don't get me wrong, but trim your cheeks. No, mate, it's, look, I do, mate, this is my Sunday beard, mate. I can't believe we're talking about my beard. Yeah, mate, I do. No, I do. Agreed, Kyle, agreed. It is far too high, but mate, I'm too old. Like, I really, mate, I really don't care. I tend, look, mate, I've got to cut my hair as well. My beard is just like, I'm just one big ball of fuzz. Northside says, so you're a fan of Giggs, Ryan Giggs? I was a football fan of Giggsy, yes. Am I a fan of Giggsy as a human being? No, but there's no problem with that, right? I like Giggsy. I like Giggsy the player. I don't know Giggsy the human being. Do I think Giggsy is a nice person? No, but I don't know him. So I'm a fan of Giggsy the player, but not of Giggsy the person. Starting about his bit now. What's wrong with people? Giggsy should have been first in. Agree with you completely. Agree with you. And Giggs is a Welsh red. I am Welsh as well, so you know. What's this? I'm reading Mainoo Amorin in. Look, Emmy, I think legend of the chat. I think you're going to be very, very sad. I don't think Mainoo right now. I don't think Amorin right now is going anywhere at all. I think the inconsistency of a loss, win, win, loss. I think Mainoo leaves before Amorin does, and I don't want him to leave. I don't want Mainoo to leave. But I think right now, and we can only look. The problem is, and this is what I don't look. This is why right now, when I do these shows, I do think about it, right? Because all we're talking about is Amorin in and out, because that's basically all we've got to talk about, because we've got no Champions League football, we've got no European football, we're out of cups. So this is what, as a fan base, we talk about, right? And it is boring. But I think where we stand right now, because we have to look at this week to week, because we're so inconsistent, we don't know. Right now, the way that, and if you look at the results, win, loss, Amorin will keep his job on that. And Mainoo's got ambition. Mainoo should leave. If Mainoo is not getting played, so I think, sadly, and I suspect this will happen. If we win, lose, draw, lose, win, lose, draw, win, draw, Amorin's staying. So I think Emmy, you kind of need to resign to the fact, mate. Tickle Pink says best player Premier League all time. Who do I think the best Premier League player of all time for me is Rooney. Do you have a problem with supporting more than two clubs? I do. It seems but mate, I don't care. But I don't not support two clubs because I think it's bad. I just don't support him. Like I just don't. I've got no problem with. Look, the beauty about football is I don't care if you're Player FC. I don't care if you support 107 clubs. If you love football, you love football. I am not here to judge anybody on anything they do in their lives. If you want to support 100 teams, good luck to you. It just means you probably have a broad understanding of the game. It takes a lot. Like, imagine if you support 3 teams and they all lose. That is a shitty weekend, right? But I've got no problem with people want to do whatever they want to do. And if you're a Player FC, if you're a 2-club man, a 3-club man, look, it's up to you. I've got absolutely no issues whatsoever. It's not for me to judge. I'm back. Let's go, champ. Isaac, legend. Did you miss me? Of course. Absolutely, my friend. It is Isaac, absolute legend. Who knows where Isaac will take this? Blue, I believe you support one club but can be fond of your local. Who's talking about another man's cheeks? Look, you do not want to be talking about my cheeks. JB, look fine, but if you feel old, just dye your facial hair, mate. I don't care, mate. I am over it, mate. Over the course of the lifetime. How many times do you think you've done it? I don't know, mate. Well, let me tell you something, Isaac. Over the last 20 years, I'm on to my second wife. Right? So, all I'm saying is, when you get married, it lessens. So I'm probably not the best person to ask on that one, my friend. Saw a story about Rooney doing something with young models, which doesn't seem like. Look, we need to separate out, and this is what's so good about this show, by the way. I will get through some more of the stuff as well. Is this right? I did a bit of a moan up a couple of weeks ago about the Hall of Fame, right? You can be a club legend and a football legend. This is why we need to separate things out, right? If there's a criminal act, that's different. Okay, if you perform a criminal act of some kind, you've tainted your legacy, right? That is just how it is, right? But you have to separate out when we're talking about football and we're talking about a human being, right? John Terry, Stevie G, apparently, Wenger, Rooney, the majority of football players, we all know what they're like. You have to separate out the player from the person. If we're talking about, if we are judging people as a footballer and a person, it depends on what you value, right? But in a pure footballing sense, Ryan Giggs, Rooney, fantastic players. If we're talking about a excuse me, if we're talking about a human being sense, then I'll leave that up to you. It is not for me to judge. Kids have no patience these days because the agents are always in their ear. They are the only person we haven't had on here yet is Frank Spencer. Agreed. Only if really does grannies. I don't believe in our football. Look week to week for the manager job to sell Mainoo and keep Rúben. This is a crazy take. Look. I'm not saying look week to week, am I? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to look week to week at the news. If you listen to what I'm saying, is I'm not saying we have to look at this situation week to week. I'm saying the media will look at this week to week. I am not saying we need to look at this every week, but we will be looking at this week to week because we're so inconsistent. We don't know the long term. So it's not a crazy take, because even if I was saying to you, we have to look at this on a week by week, right? If you go to any fucking job in the entire world, right, and you're shit at your job, right, what is it your job will do? They will put you on some sort of like plan, right? It's called a succession plan, right? And they judge you week to week, right? They judge you day to day, week to week, on a month to month, because you're not consistent. If you're consistent, you don't need to be judged week to week, right? I don't blame this squad being judged every single week because they're not consistent. In any other walk of life, if you're not doing a good job in your marriage, in your job, in a workplace, what you do is you get judged. It's not fucking crazy. It's actually I think it's actually quite a normal way to look at life. You are judged week to week. I am not saying that we should judge this week to week because it doesn't work. The media will judge this week to week. The media will judge this day to day. I think we need to look at the manager again after maybe another 6 to 7 games. But to sit there and say it's stupid to look at it from a week to week. Every other job in the world, if you're shit at your job, you will get on some sort of plan and they will look at you week to week. That's what life is like. So are you telling me that this team that is so consistent, this team is so inconsistent from week to week, they have one game a week, they're so inconsistent, You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what the manager will do next. And you're telling me that people are not allowed to say, well, actually, we need to look at this on a week to week. I'm not saying that people need to change their mind, but this media will judge this. I don't look at this on a week by week. I look at this on a length of time, right? But I don't blame people who look at this on a week to week, because that's what happens in any other job, in any other walk of life. Why should football not follow the same suit? I will die on that hill, bro. I'm Amorin out, but I agree with Cold. Kids have no patience. Goals, Becks, Giggs, etc. didn't have a chance to do it. Emmy, and I've said that. Look, again, we've said that as well, right? Kids don't have patience, and I'm 100% on you with this one. I've told these stories many times. People think that the class of '92 came into this squad as 17-year-olds. The only one of those players that came into this squad was Giggsy. Beckham went on loan. Scholesy was a striker to begin with, hardly played. Neville came into the squad. You know, you had all these players. Beckham, you know, these players didn't come into the side till they were 21, 22. And I agree completely. Supporting multiple teams is a bit like having multiple wives or girlfriends. The real question is, how long will it take us to right the ship and get us back to winning titles? Dino, we've been saying 5 years, mate, for 13 years. Until this ownership drastically changes, until they start supporting financially until they start supporting in the right way financially, and that doesn't mean buying them a bunch of players. It means that until they start spending money on the correct players for the correct coach, and it doesn't mean they need to spend like millions and millions and millions. They need to buy the right players, and until that happens, mate, we're going to be having this conversation every single year, and I think we get further and further away. Isaac says, "How did you meet your wife?" I found my first wife when I was 19, and we met at a friend's party or something, and then I met my second wife at work. Weddings are expensive. Yes, they are. Need advice on finding a woman that can cook and clean for me. I'm still trying to find that as well. No, look, Isaac, all I'm going to say is, if you want to find a woman that's going to cook and clean, that's a you thing. Look, mate, I do cooking in my house. I do cleaning in my house, mate. I'm not ashamed. Look, mate, I admire the hustle, but if you want to find a woman who, you know, cooks and cleans, and I think it's only fair that you've got to accept that you've got to do the cooking and cleaning yourself, mate, as well. So, you know, Emmy, Isaac, he met. Look, Emmy, you know what they say, right? Emmy, they say old enough when they finish school, and they finish school at 3:30. I'm joking, okay? I'm joking. I think he is. Take on. Okay. So Greenwood, he might be a decent player, but he's a horrible person. You can't be hitting your own innocent partner. That's common sense. Look. The problem with Greenwood is right. The problem there is this, right? Everything is alleged, right? So what you've just said there, whether I agree with that or not, is alleged. It allegedly happened, right? The problem with that is that we all heard what we heard. Okay, we all saw some of the stuff. Greenwood was never convicted of a criminal act, right? People have to form their own opinion on that. And my opinion, I need to be very careful about what I say on this, because everything is alleged. what I will tell you on that is I would never have him back at this club ever again. That's my own opinion on it. Not because there is no. He in the eyes of the law, he's innocent. He's not done anything at all. But in my opinion, I would never have him back at this club. So you can take from that of what you will. I think people deserve a second chance, but do you think United could keep the win streak? No, I don't. It's definitely not called a succession plan. No, it is. No, it is. No, it really is. I've had to do it. Not me personally, but I've had to give people a succession plan. So in my industry, that's what it's called, because you have to help them succeed. I know what a succession plan is when you have to basically plan for the next person, but in some organizations that's basically is called that. You have to succeed and you have to plan out, but that's what it's called in my industry. Only unless you're like me and you work for yourself, you're a business owner, probably I own Emmy's a legend. I don't know football. You're alright. If you think being a manager of a football club is the same as just any, I didn't say it was, did I? If you actually clean out your ears and you actually listen to what I'm saying to you, is I don't think football is like any other job in the entire world. That's not what I'm saying to you, and I think you're a fucking idiot if you don't listen to what I'm fucking saying. I don't think this club, and let me be clear, right, in what I'm going to say to you. I don't think that Amorin should be judged week to week. I don't think football can be judged week to week, because it takes a length of time if you're a new coach, if you've got new players. It's common fucking sense. Football is unlike any other job in the entire world, right? No manager or football team should be judged week in, week out. This is the problem I'm talking about, flip-flopping in this fan base, right? But what I'm saying to you is the media, this fucking media, will judge this manager day by day, week to week. But what I'm saying to you is that if people do that in this particular period that we are in, because of the inconsistencies, I don't blame people for judging this club week by week, because you don't know what you're going to get. I don't condone it, but I can also see the both sides. I, for one, will not. I don't want to judge this coach week by week. Okay. Month by month, no. I want to give it to him until the end of the season, but you can't let that happen the way that we are now. But I also don't think you need to go down to that level where you judge him week by week. But I also don't blame people that do. I don't necessarily agree with Amorin in and out week by week. That's not what I'm saying. But because of the inconsistencies of this club, we win, we lose, we win, we lose. That's the epitome of inconsistency. So why can't people apply that to this club? Like I don't like it, but I can also see the other side, whereby why wouldn't you? That's just my opinion. But no, you're right. It's not like any other job in the world. This is why I personally don't see it week to week. But I don't disagree with people that do. You think senior executives at large organisations are working week to week? I don't know football, mate. You don't know what you're fucking talking about, mate. You don't know what you're talking about. And yes, they fucking do, because I've worked in industry for 20 fucking years, you fucking idiot. Yes, they do, mate. There are people, right? And you clearly don't, because I've worked in industries, in multinational corporations for a long time, and there are conversations that I had, and there are people that work week to week. I've worked with people, I've had to do it myself with people, and you judge them on a week to week. You don't know what I do, you don't know how high level I am or where I've worked, and I'm telling you, you're a fucking moron, because this happens. I work for massive organisations. This happens week to week. What do you think a probation is? When you start a job, do you start a job and go, oh yeah, well, we're going to hire you and you can have the job? No, you fucking idiot, because you have a probation period. And guess what happens on your probation period? You get judged week by week, month by month, because they want to know if you're the right fit. So yes, they do get judged on a week by week fucking basis, you fucking idiot. Seriously. Yeah, get a good chance of. I do support a second team. Look, absolutely, my friend. Women that can cook and clean, that's a major for hire. Look, I'm not getting into all of that. As a Liverpool fan, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm scared of facing Mohamed. I wouldn't be scared, mate. I absolutely wouldn't be scared, mate. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be scared, mate. I look. Mate, I just wouldn't be scared. Absolutely not. Greenwood. Yeah, look. I mean, I can't look. I look. All I'm going to say to you is, whenever you say things like that about people, just prefix it with alleged, because nothing's ever been proven, has it really? So, my friend said Yamal was 10 times better than I told him Irene won the Golden Boot at 17. Different players, different players. Owen was good. No worries, JB. If Greenwood sues, we'll back you and join your legal team. Thank you. What do you do for work? You look like a teacher. At the moment, what am I? I'm a senior finance IT consultant. And just for people on here, I'm a senior consultant who's worked for probably some of the biggest legal firms in the world. I've also worked for legal firms, some of the biggest firms in the world as well, with lawyers. And I have seen people judged week by week. So, that's where I'm at. R9 was the youngest Ballon d'Or winner, if I'm not wrong. I'm old school, I don't care about stats. You're correct. 21 and 3 months. I'm 1989. The weekly reactionary responses, the media, drive the entertainment spectacular of the Prem. The fans shouldn't fall for it. Look, I agree with you. I absolutely do not think that we should judge Amorin on a week to week. It's fucking ridiculous. It is a ludicrous thing to even talk about. And you're right. But I also don't blame people that do, because it's so inconsistent. It messes with people's heads. But a logical person would not judge a football club on a week to week basis. Can't be trying to argue with JB about finance management. JB's not high up. I do all right, my friend. Cold, I wouldn't ever in my life. Owen was getting kicked the shit off too. Yamal drives like he's in the Olympics. Exactly that. Bluey Games, thank you, my friend. I will I will see you soon, my friend. Have a good rest of your morning. It's clear you haven't Cold Logic. I have seen it. I have seen it, and that's why. Look, I have seen it. All I'm going to say to you is this: take out from it what you with. I was very angry at the time. To bear in mind, I've got 3 girls, and all I'm saying to you is if that was my daughter in that clip, they wouldn't be finding him again. So that's all I'm saying to you. That he'd be lost in a place. So all I'm saying to you is that I've heard it, I've seen it, I've heard it, I've heard all the alleged stuff. All I'm saying is United wouldn't know where he was. He would just go on a little holiday, and he wouldn't be coming back. Biggest firms, that's where you get kids from. Exactly. I go to many countries around the world, and yeah. Look, fun fact: I got my foot run over by Ollie when I was a manager at United. Ran over my foot with his Range Rover. Never stopped. I love it. Yeah. So right before I go, let's talk about a few other bits and pieces as well, which I think are pertinent. Is that number one, Belieber? I wanted to talk a little bit about Belieber and sort of where we are with that one. Look, Belieber's been subbed again. Look, and again, look, it tells you everything that you need to know about a person's family, a person's dad. I'll say this for free, right? I don't care if my daughter was married to a billionaire. I would, if that was my daughter, promise you, they would disappear. I wouldn't care about the money. At the very least, for whatever reason, he wouldn't be able to play football again or have children. Do you ever bet money on football? I don't, my friend. I don't. Happy to see your content. Thank you, Junior. What is the income ceiling in your career sector? In my career sector, if you're asking me like how much I earn, I'm not going to tell you. But the career earnings in my sector, in what I do, is as high. So technically, I could be self-employed, right? I don't, because I don't need the hassle with doing this as well. So the career sector, the income ceiling in my career sector is unlimited. As much as you want to earn, you can earn it, really. I know people who just sold their consultancy firm for a lot of money. But I'm more of a grunt rather than an owner, and I'm happy right now. What if the guy was Mike Tyson? Well, all I'm going to say is, can Mike Tyson fight Carr? No. Can Mike Tyson stay awake for 24 hours a day? No. People would just assume that you're gonna walk up to somebody and just come on, like no. There are ways and means. I'm a believer. Hopefully this we can talk about that as well. Okay, what is the tax bracket you're in? I am hilarious. Let's just put it this way. I'm not in the lower tax bracket. That's all I'm saying. The government take more than enough cash from me. Let me just tell you that. JB earns 130k a year. It's true. It's true, mate. It's true. Look, it's all true. It's true. I earn my money from the legitimate ways. If you want to make money go where the money is, exactly that. Mark Harris, I like to see Unai Emery. Mark Harris, legend of the chat, lives and breathes football, and he has formations up his sleeve. Isaac, I'm not telling you that, mate. No. No, my friend. That's not going to happen. All I'm going to say to you is I am in a tax bracket where I pay more than my fair share of tax, my friend. I'm going to ask you in every stream until you tell me, and I'm going to reply to you the same thing. I'm in a bracket where I pay. Look, we all pay enough tax as it is. I pay more than my fair share of tax. That's all I'm saying. What games do you have on the N64? I've got FIFA 98 in there. I've got FIFA 97. I've got Mario Kart 64. I've got Mario 64. I've got some NFL game as well. I've got Lilac Wars or Star Fox. I've got Banjo Kazooie. I'm 20 and look, Isaac, my friend. You have to sleep with him to get that information. Look, no, well, depends really. I'm 20 and look, Isaac, I'm certainly not going to be the one to break your jinx, my friend. So as long as you hide your fair share too, bro, mate. I can't hide any of my money because the taxman knows. He just knows the whole shebang. He probably, oh mate, I'm not a taker. Never have been, mate. Never have been. I give it, mate. No, anyway, people in finance don't pay or their, do they? I do because I am not, even though I am currently employed. So if I was running my own company, I would always pay my tax, and I would advise you all to pay your taxes, and I would advise you all to enter into legitimate tax avoidance schemes. But if you do enter a tax avoidance scheme, you have to declare it to the HMRC as well. So and you should never avoid tax. So you must always pay your taxes. You must always do that right thing there. That's all I'm saying. I think he would take the job. Promotes youth, yes. But don't ever tell anyone on here what you earn, like your address. We don't ever need to know your personal information exactly like that. That's never going to happen. How do you think the Man United rebuild will start? Well, it's supposed to be starting now, mate. Well, good segue question actually. So Belieber. So let's talk about that. So Belieber, where are we on him? So Belieber subbed around about half time again. He's not having the best of the season. So let's talk about that. So Belieber, we're going to go for a centre midfielder, I think, in the next window, or I think we at least should. Exactly, ME. That's all you need to know, mate. Is that Belieber? So I'm not convinced by Belieber. I'm not convinced. I'm really concerned. Really concerned about how something hasn't gone his way and the mentality has amazing. Of course, mate. You've got nice feet. Oh, nice. I've got awful feet because I run a lot and I go to the gym a lot. My feet are disgusting. Anyway, Belieber. So yeah, I'm not convinced by Belieber yet. There's a big question mark for me. I should have asked this time. What's your name? It's JB. I mean, look, I go by JB. I'm sure the chat will let you know, but I go by JB. Maybe I'll disclose it to you. Maybe the chat will disclose it to you, but JB stands for Justin Bieber. It does. No, it is John. It does stand for John, my friend. No, it is John. I wish I could be John Barnes because I don't actually, because John Barnes is skint, isn't he? So no. Named after his favourite footballer, John. It's true. It is true. It is true. It is true. And on that note, I'm going to go. I was going to talk about some stuff. I'm not, mate. I'm not. Look, that is a topic for another channel. Look, all I'm going to say on that is I don't need to say anything on that. I mean, look, this is definitely not the channel for that. Just as well you played us to get 3 points, Mr. Bigfoot. Exactly. I don't hide away from questions on here. Look, all I'm going to say on that is I think the country at the moment, like football, is being spun around, right? You know, who do you believe? You've got politicians saying one thing. You've got other people on the left saying stuff. You've got people on the right saying stuff, and don't be swayed. Both sides of the argument are trying to. They want something in it, right? Both sides are going to absolutely spin you a yarn because it suits whatever it is that they're trying to do, right? I think the best thing to do is to try to make up your own mind. And Isaac is right. Nobody owns the planet. Well, I disagree with that. I think rich people do. I think rich people absolutely do own the planet. But technically, nobody does. So I think you have to look at it. Use your eyes. Use your eyes. Don't be persuaded by people's opinion. Do not be persuaded by my opinion. Don't be persuaded by people who scream the loudest are the ones that tend to get heard the most. So what I'll say to you is come to your own conclusion. Use your own brain cells. You may have had a bad experience. You may have a good experience about it. Just use your own brain. You're going to get extreme views on the left and right. Right. Try and find somewhere. Try and read loads, listen loads, talk loads, and then you will come to a conclusion that's right for you. So I don't think there's an answer for it. I don't really have an opinion right now. I'm not going to give you an opinion. That is an opinion, I think, for a different channel. But I just think that you need to make up your own views on that one. So Viper Lord says, hello, my friend. Farage got his whole Isaac, I agree with you. Computers control our lives. We're just I like that. I'm a big fan of the Matrix as well. I think that is a a great film. I was going to say a great joke, and with the ones who scream those gets heard would have been too far. John, are you able to work remotely? I do, mate. I do. I work from home, but I do work with clients as well. So I don't. As it says, I'm a law firm grad looking for. Cool. Okay. My email, Isaac, is in the, because I can't type in here. I don't think. My email, Isaac, is okay. Isaac, send me an email. My email is in the channel description. So go in there, send me a Outlook, and I will hook you up because I do know loads and loads of people. So depending on what you want to do, give me just send me an email, and I will I will reply to you because I do. Oh, email friends. Oh, law firm friends. Oh, friends. Law firm friends. Oh, I can look, Isaac. I can hook you up there, mate, as well. So Junior, I'm not answering that, my friend. I went to Staffs and we battered you in varsity. Laptops are convenience. Look, I can assure you, you can at any time, you can absolutely come and read my hard drives. That's a work laptop. I've got a computer down. I've got a PC down there that I built. But they are all clean as a whistle. It's true. It's true. I don't like money. I think money is the root of all evils, but sadly, you do need money in life. to live. That's a fact. It's a fact. I absolutely detest what money does to people. But you do need money. It's a fact of life. You need cash to eat. You need cash to clothe your kids. It's a sad state of affairs, but that's life. It's life, and I can't stand it. I really can't stand it. That's why I raise money. So when I do like my 100Ks and I do whatever, like I do run for like children's charities. I run for like men's health. I run for tons of people, and it is that time. It is that time again, my friends. So guys, I am going to go. I am from I'm from Essex in England, a very fine county. So if you are in Essex, it's a very fine place to be. As long as you don't mind women in stilettos, men with tans. I mean, I don't have a tan, so you know. But yeah, it is the place of interesting people. The problem is most people who amass wealth do so exactly so even when they're rich, they still don't realise exactly. Look, true wealth is absolutely staggering. You know, I'm an Essex. Wayne, Liverpool fan, legend. Wayne. I'm in Essex, so you know, absolute legend. Obviously, Wayne is a neighbour of mine. Not only is Wayne a legend, but he is a neighbour of mine. So I am near. I'm not going to tell the chat exactly where I am, but I'm from Wickford, near a place there. So I don't live there, but Wickford is sort of that area that I'm in. Now, I might be a couple of miles in and around there, but I'm basically around that area. So, Wayne, if that's a place that you know, I'm sort of in and around there, my friend. Spend your health chasing wealth, then spend the wealth to chase back your health. Code logic. Your name suits you, my friend. You are a football fan? Yes, I am. Look, sometimes what we talk about on here doesn't necessarily align to football chat, but what we do here, we're a United fan channel. Wayne, I know Colchester very well, so I know exactly where that is as well. So it's nice to meet another Essex person. So Wayne, legend. I knew Wayne. There was something about you, mate, that was awesome, and I know what it is now. Emmy says I'm rich, but not meaning money. Love, friends, family. Look, exactly, Emmy. That is exactly what it's about. It's not about money. We need money to survive, right? But I'm lucky. I've got an amazing wife. I've got 3 kids. I've got a little dog down there. You know, I've got a car that I can drive. I've got a house. My kids are fed. They're warm. You know, amazing stuff. Emmy, we can't buy time. I'll let you get off. Night chat. Good night. Good night, Isaac. Good night, Wayne. And last and least, good night, JB. Good night, Emmy. Legend. Of course you are, my friend. My American football team went to Colchester and battered them too. Amazing. So, guys, as we say, I am off. As I say it every night, because it is bloody important to say it. In life, you can't. There's things in life you cannot buy. It's so important. You cannot buy time, and you cannot buy your health. You cannot do it, and particularly after the events of the last couple of days and the things that go on around the world, it's so important that you guys could be anywhere else. You don't have to come on here and spend time with me. Spend time with each other. Hopefully, this channel is connected some of you as well. The fact you give me your time, it means so much to me. You help me grow this channel into the numbers. You know, we're not massively huge, but we're bigger than I ever thought that we'd ever be. You being here means so much to me. We don't have to agree. It's what you are, what counts. Exactly. You can't buy time, but you can buy a timeshare, and that is hilarious because You can do. So guys, look, I can't express how amazing this has become. Um, I'd love us to get big, but you know, if this is as big as we become, it is. I never thought in a million years that I'd even get more than one person. So you know, it is amazing, guys. You as a community are fantastic. I love the banter. I love the chats. You know, this is this is the best community, I've watched stuff over the last 10 years or so. And you guys on here are absolutely amazing. So I can only thank you for that. And just say, look, I will be back tomorrow at some point. Wayne, look, this channel is only the best in my opinion because it's only as good as the people who come on this channel. Right? It's a fact of life, you know, and you know, if it wasn't for you guys on here, it would be me talking in a room by myself, looking weird. Right? Simple as that. So, guys, amazing show again. I love these shows. These evening shows are the best. You guys, again, you know, this channel is nothing without you guys. So, have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Wayne, Essex guy, have a good day tomorrow. Code Logic, of course, you know, Emmy. Tibra, I mean, so many of you in the chat. Junior, Isaac, of course, legend, absolute legend. Isaac, don't forget to send me an email and I'll hook you up with some people. So yeah, do not forget to send me that and I will reply on the way you can go and look and I can have some talk with some people as well. So give me a shout. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. So have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves and your families. Stay safe. I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.